we're really trying to get people that maybe didn't think they could actually get their own home and that would be too far out of reach. I actually feel that wedge or that gap is widening now because obviously the pricing of housing in Perth particularly is skyrocketing. So this is really more just to target those people who think, hey, is it out of reach? Is it not? How can we leverage our tax return to get us into
home buyers as well. There's loads in the market looking and you're seeing their faces when you tell them how much it's going to cost and they're just like, what? This is the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde from Evolution House and Lawn Specialists and Catherine Smith from Build Bright Builder Brokers.
If you guys are looking to build in WA or simply curious to see what's going on in building, you guys are in the right place. We're here to give insight with professionals in the game, coming to give the inside scoop. Episodes are uploaded weekly, so don't worry, we don't skip a beat and you won't either. Like, share, subscribe, sit back, relax, and let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde
and Catherine Smith. Good evening.
Good evening.
We're actually filming this at night time, would you believe? We're just so busy during the day that we've actually had to come after hours, so which is usually weird because we usually actually film first thing in the morning.
Not a whole day.
What happened, I don't know. But here we are.
We are ready to go.
What we want to do on our evenings is talk about tax.
So you should have all done your tax, or you're about to do your tax.
Guys, get excited. This is a hot topic.
We'll try and make it as exciting as we can.
Woohoo! Tax. You know what we like though? We like money. Okay?
Money.
Some would even say, money. Money. And that is the time for July 2024.
Yeah.
All right.
And this is how to use it. All right. Okay. So
what really we want to do is how to actually use your tax return for this financial year and not blow it on stupid nonsense.
Like going to Bali and jet skis and...
Nonsense is a variable that can be seen in many different ways.
If you're looking to buy a house or build a house, don't blow it on nonsense. If you already have a house and stuff, do what you want with it. It's probably but you're probably not listening to the podcast as well.
Yeah, to be fair, we're really trying to get people that maybe didn't think they could actually get their own home and that would be too far out of reach. I actually feel that wedge or that gap is widening now because obviously the pricing of housing in Perth particularly is skyrocketing. So this is really more just to target those people who think, hey, is it out of reach? Is it not? How can we leverage our tax return to get us into
home buyers as well. There's loads in the market looking and you're seeing their faces when you tell them how much it's going to cost and they're just like, what? But
I know,
this stuff is going to help you get there.
Cool. So basically we are now July 2024, which is the new financial year. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. It's time to talk to our accountant. Now we all have one, or you should anyway. If not, I can hook you up. But this is really the time to stretch your dollar as much as you can to help you get to your own home.
Yeah.
What we're saying right now is finance first when it comes to building, particularly because something we touched on in our last couple of episodes is obviously the land shortage at the moment. So to really get our ducks in a row, and because of the prices booming so considerably quicker, we really need to get our finances sorted before we really action anything, So the priority is, of course, speak to your accountant and lodge your tax return. And once you have those figures in place, really see how we can utilize that to build your own home. So the second step of that is, of course, talking to your finance broker and seeing what the best action plan is for you. Now, I will be honest, every client is different. Okay. Everyone's financial situation is different. That's why it's really important to talk to a broker and see what their plan of attack is, because it actually changes client per client on what is the best way to go and definitely. Strategy. And we actually work a lot with people's finance brokers, and we kind of work backwards of their requirements to sort of get the ball rolling and to help our clients financially. So once you talk to a broker, generally speaking, they will obviously talk to you about your borrowing capacity based on your tax return. So let's say if you got 30 grand back in your tax return as a couple, for example, how can we leverage that and how far away are we from getting the deposit?
So when you've got the borrowing capacity, let's just talk a nice easy number, 600K, and you want to be in this area in that house, and you go, right, okay, that works. I need X amount of dollars as a savings plan.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 50 grand. Just for really easy numbers, and you've got 30K, right? You're 20K short. So that's where the plan comes in place. Okay, and that's what we're doing. And we'll talk about those tips and tricks in the plan as we go through this episode, but that's what I would be doing in reverse engineering it that way.
Exactly. Yeah, great example.
Yeah.
So if we're going to reverse engineer it, what we really want to do is action plan of how much besides our tax return do we need for our deposit. So let's use an argument's sake, we need another 20 grand savings. Our priority is to secure a block for two reasons. One, to have a goal in place, but also to secure the price that it is now.
Yeah.
Because we're in such a land shortage, the pricing of particularly in land is going to be increasing, I would say, the next at least 2 years.
Yep.
What's happening now is blocks are becoming less and less available, so the titles are being further and further away. We can actually use that to your advantage, and the way we do that is basically securing a block. Let's say we're July now, secure a block with titles March 2025. Yep. That gives us 8 months to save your 20 grand on top of your tax return to sort of complete your whole deposit that you need. But what that does, the beauty of it, is it secures your price for your land, July 2024 prices, and you're not paying the March prices that will be released.
Yeah, which we know in March 25, you're going to have equity. If the whole estate's went up 30, 40 grand, you're going to get that in equity, which would come good when you've built the house to probably remortgage. But that's a different episode, different story. But trying to get rid of things like LMI and stuff, that's a great way to get rid of it, is if you can get the equity from the house build and that. Anyway,
yes.
Well, that's another episode, or previous episodes will be somewhere we've talked about it.
Well, I mean, to touch on equity, it's important because from, let's say, we see the pricing skyrocketing so quickly. Let's say a July to a March example will be 8 months. That'll be a significant price jump. I think the median price in Bad Ivis went up 60 grand in 6 months.
Well, that client, the client I had that lost the land we spoke about in the other episode, it was like 70 or 80 grand jump from when it went back on the market when we sold it. I mean, that's huge amounts of dollars, right? That's like, wow, okay, we're playing big dollars now, right?
On top of that, what we want to do as well is to lodge with the builder, and that is to secure the price point with the builder. So it's very much the same thing, is pricing increases as we go. So we are really focusing on builders that have a longer price hold. Yeah. Okay, so generally speaking, each builder has different, I guess, rules around their price hold, if you want to word it like that. 6 months would be
I say it's a good average at the hold of price. It depends on each builder, and we would discuss that with you with each builder depending on the requirements and all that stuff. Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is clients that need that longer delay in their titles, let's say an 8 month hold, I'm really pushing them with a builder with a longer price hold. I have some builders that do up to 9 months, which I love because they understand the market is not actually, 2021, it's 2024, and they're coming to meet the market. And the market is essentially, we're having such a delayment in titles, so the builders need to take that on board when they're doing their pricing. So a 9 month price hold is, the max one of my builders does. And I generally, if we're doing some sort of payment plan, I generally put them through that builder. So it's really to use that to our advantage. Now, Tony sort of mentioned with his blocks obviously increasing in value from, say, July to March, but I was actually doing my client's build. So they lodged February, and then I calculated June. Their price, their base plan, went up $38,000 from February to June, which is only 4 months, 38 grand. And you actually don't notice it because each month we get priceless. And you're like, 8 grand. Oh, okay, yeah. But it was actually $38,000 from February to June. And you can imagine if that was, we didn't lodge in February. And then all of a sudden, with lodging now, we now have to find another $40,000.
But that's going to be relevant to what your house is worth when it's built.
Absolutely.
That's going to be completely relevant. So, you might go, damn, I've paid $600K. It might be worth nearly $700,000 by the time it's built. And you go, hold on. And you're on LMI, which is obviously lender's mortgage insurance. Oh, I've got enough over the 20%, or I've got enough there to then get rid of LMI or get a lower rate with less LMI or whatever. There is bonuses and pluses in this, but you have to know where you're looking, right?
Absolutely. So this is the real life example. It's the same client that I lodged in February. Their package was $585,000. I actually calculated June, so last month, what it would be if I signed them up today based on the current land prices in that estate and the build for that floor plan, okay? I promise you, I'm not kidding. $585,000, it went up to $693,000. It was $113,000 difference, just the base, and exactly the same size block in the exactly same estate, the exact same house, 4 months. 113,000. That's actually like a real story.
And that's why, but that's why investors are buying it here, because they're not worried about.
It's not even titled yet. We're titling in August. It's concerning.
But that's why investors are building it here. One, for the rent return, but also the amount of equity they're going to build, because they can use that equity to strengthen their
I think I need to start charging an investment fee. I'm just finding these golden nuggets.
Crazy.
But because we were doing the valuations for the broker, and he goes, "Oh, what would it, just out of interest, what would it be?" And it was $113,000, and it's a bit eye opening because that was only 4 months. So what I'm passionately saying about the tax return is getting that to secure the price for July or August, whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. So when we actually build, the house already has $100,000 built into it, and we're in a payment plan to really get you on the ladder.
It's like it may look like a 9-month painful plan, but it's a 9-month plan, short-term pain for a long-term gain. Because if you're in that market paying that price, and then you're winning with equity, you don't have to stay there that long. You can then use that equity to buy somewhere else or upgrade or whatever. The average people stay in the house 7 years, and then they look to move on. So that's the way it is,
a lot of the time it's a stepping stone house. So I always say to clients, your first house is to set you up, and it's a stepping stone. It's not to be your forever home. It's to get you on the ladder and to increase where you are on the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So try not to be so emotional about it. It's really just try to use a smart investment and to get yourself on there.
And it's just jumping on now, so next kind of point we want to go is not every client comes to us doesn't have debt. And a lot of people do have debt, and we talk about debt like car loans and credit cards and stuff like
Personal loans.
So and that gets taken off what you can actually borrow. So we'll go back to say we're working those nice round numbers of $30,000 back from your tax return. Work with your broker, work with your accountant. It might be, and you say we'll talk to the scenario that the land's in March. It might be better to use that money, there's $30,000, to pay off all your debt.
Yeah.
Because then that will give you a bigger borrowing capacity. Now, what that means is you might be further away from your deposit. However, the money you were spending on the credit card, the car loan, my advice, you would just put that straight back into your savings, and you'll be surprised how quickly that will bump up. You were spending it anyway, but it's kind of dead money.
Yeah.
It's gone. Or maybe half and half it, or consolidate everything into one loan and pay that, and that's an easier payment. There's loads of different ways. Your finance broker, the really good ones, I think Tracy Franco spoke about this, she quite often consolidates all the loans and banks it down and makes it a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
So if you've got debt, don't worry that you can't get there. It might be a case of your first conversation with your broker is, hey, we can't get you a loan what you need right now, but this is what we're going to do. Any broker that goes, you can't get a loan and moves you on, never go back to them. Never ever come back and see us, because they just want the easy deals. Get a broker that actually cares about you, wants to go that. The brokers that we work with will literally... I've got clients that I know I won't be looking till January to work with them because they've got so much stuff to get in order, but they're working, we're checking every month, we're there. It's great, right? Some of those clients we've got land for as well.
Yeah.
Long time burners, but as long as you get what we get, the result is to get you that house and land, and we're trying to guide, and this is what we do. This stuff we talk about on this podcast is exactly what I talk to my clients about in real life.
Yeah. So the broker will guide you, and they'll say, with your tax return, you can either use a part of your deposit, or we're going to actually use it to pay off your current debts to sort of expand your borrowing capacity.
Work out what's going to be best, what's going to give you the most money return.
It's a case by case. Everyone's situation is different, and then we work with the game plan in mind of what we're actually trying to achieve here, which is your own home. So.
That's it. That's the thing I would be looking at then, and then we go like all the kind of the hidden things that you might not know about when you're going to get land and all that kind of, when you're getting the loans and things like that.
So our advice is obviously just to research what the incentives are at the moment, whether you're a first home buyer or second home buyer. It actually changes pretty regularly, and I would actually say end of financial year is generally when the politicians start to really look into the new.
Is the first home buyer at 20? Is it at 20k yet, or it's coming, isn't it? First home buyer
hasn't come out yet. No,
but the first home buyer grant is going to go to 20k. I believe
it needs to.
I believe it's going to go to 20k.
Yeah, so 10. We need to know what we're entitled to in terms of a first home buyer or second home buyer, whatever you're going to be. So what those touch points are, sort of your incentives for stamp duty. That's obviously a huge reason why people build, is obviously the lack of stamp duty on land, generally speaking.
Under 300k, right?
Correct.
Which
or
I think needs to be reviewed again.
Minimal amount,
Needs to be reviewed again.
Definitely needs to be reviewed. And then your LMI and which banks obviously has different incentives as well, with lower
the 2%
deposits and things
2%
like that.
to 5%.
Yeah.
The first home loan guarantee.
And the first home loan
Single parent
guarantee, which we had with Alan Vernals. If you want to learn more about the first home loan guarantees, go back to that episode. That was really insightful for learning your entitlements if you are a first home buyer.
Yeah, where you hit the 5% and you don't need to have LMI because the government will step in with their incentive to not cover it, but guarantee the 15% shortfall because you need a 20% deposit to get away from the LMI.
Yes, exactly. So really start to do your research and go, how can I get this 30 grand tax return, for example, and really get my own home with it and really stretch myself to think outside the box. So unfortunately this year we're not going to Bali. We are getting a house.
Yeah, that's it. You're getting rid of your debt to buy a house.
You will appreciate me in 2027 when you've got your own home and all the rest of it. I guarantee it's going to be worth it. You got to bite the bullet. You got to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This is the time to get smart financially when things are a little bit tough out there. We know that,
You haven't missed the boat. You just got to get on the boat.
Yeah, it's all swings and roundabouts. This is get used to it. This is the new prices, guys. They're not going to go back down to that 400k. The market's not going to drop like they're talking about.
I know.
The prices will stay. Because what will happen? People will just stay in their houses and they won't sell. It'll just be a slow economy. That's the difference. So stay in there. As like every other episode, we really, really want more subscribers because it really helps us do what we do. This is we're on about 30 odd episodes now already, which is unbelievable. Can't believe
I don't know. We're still talking
30 episodes of nonsense. I hope it's not been like that, but the bigger we can grow, more experience we can bring on it. There's we've had some people that are like, oh, you need to have a certain amount of followers or subscribers before they'll come on the podcast, which we understand because they need to co-align with each other. We're still trying to work out that YouTube algorithm type thing, but we'd love you to subscribe and review for us and really get us going and fire us up there. And also, like, comment, let us know what you want to hear more about, who you want to hear, who should be on here, and we'll get going.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the Build Out West podcast with your host, Tony Hyde from Evolution House and Land Specialists and Catherine Smith from Build Bright Builder Brokers.
If you guys are looking to build in WA or simply curious to see what's going on in building, you guys are in the right place. We're here to give insight with professionals in the game, coming to give the inside scoop. Episodes are uploaded weekly, so don't worry, we don't skip a beat and you won't either. Like, share, subscribe, sit back, relax, and let's go.